Hi guys, welcome to the Essex Fashion House channel. My name is Randy. Today I'm going to give you all the information I have about Coach sample bags. Now, a lot of people have a lot of questions about these bags, and the main one is, are these bags actually genuine, real Coach bags? And the short answer is yes, they are. But that leads us to some other questions like what exactly are Coach sample bags and how do you get one? And finally, how do you know if you already have one or if a bag you're considering buying actually is one? Well, I'm going to answer all those questions for you in this video. I'm going to show you a few examples of genuine Coach sample bags and show you all the little details inside that tells you that it is a sample bag and what to look for if you want to find one. And I will let you know my thoughts on the upsides and downsides to these Coach sample bags. So what exactly are Coach sample bags? Well, some of them are just samples of a model that were made before that model was put into production for the store, which means you could have a bag that's a sample bag and it could just be a very early produced one of that specific model, which doesn't make it a particularly special bag unless you really value it being one of the first ones produced. But others can be samples that were produced of a model that ended up not actually going into production for the store, and therefore there were only a very few made and they were never made available to the Coach customers, and therefore these bags are quite rare and you could have something very special. Sometimes these samples would be samples of a model that actually did go into production, but where they might have changed something in the design before it did that, meaning they had these first samples that look slightly different from the version that was made available to the customers in the retail stores. And therefore you could have some that are not a completely unique design, but something that looks familiar to a design you already know, but just has some very unique features. This means that very often owning a Coach sample bag can mean that you have something quite special. So why do Coach create these sample bags? I can't say for sure, of course, but I would guess that most companies create prototypes and samples of items before they put them into production. It is quite interesting that these somehow make their way out into the market and end up in the hands of normal buyers and customers when that wasn't really the intention. And I would assume that they make these samples to, it could be testing out new designs before they decide on making it. Like, for example, you could have an idea for a bag that has a special type of strap on it, and you might make it and then find out that, oh, the strap doesn't actually work because it keeps falling off because of a design flaw. And therefore, if you have samples made up first, you get to test it out first. So there's that. And then I also do know that, of course, a lot of sample bags are created for press purposes, for photo shoots. And this explains why sometimes when you're browsing the Coach website and you see bags for sale, you might see a picture of a bag and it has a little detail on it. Like, for example, with some of the Rogue 31s, you might have seen that they would have a picture where the bag had a little metal loop at the front where the hang tags were attached rather than them being tied to the handle like they usually are. So you see this picture, you add to cart, you check out, you pay, you receive it, you open your box, and when you take it out, it looks like the same bag, but it doesn't have the little loop at the front. Instead, the hang tags are attached the normal way. And I would assume this is because the pictures are taken of the sample bags that sometimes differ a little bit in design or just in like little details like that. I've actually got an example of that. I have two Rogues that are the exact same model, color, everything. The only difference is this little loop at the front. So as you can see here, the pink floral bow Rogue 25. Here's the one that's a sample that has the little loop on it. And then if you ordered it from the store, this is the one you would actually get where the hang tags are attached in the normal way. And since these samples are created not to be sold in the store, how do these bags actually end up in the hands of us mere mortals who just love a good special Coach bag? Well, these bags are made available in special Coach sample sales. However, they're only made available to Coach employees. So some of these employees buy these bags at good prices from Coach and then go and resell them on eBay or other marketplaces, even though I'm sure they're not supposed to, but we won't tell anyone. And that's how they end up in the reselling market and make their way into our hands. So how do you actually get one? Well, to sum up a little bit, you pretty much have two options. Get a job at Coach, work your way up to earn the privilege of having access to the Coach sample sale, or go prowl the deep depths of eBay and other marketplaces online and find hidden treasures that are listed for sale out there, because they are out there. Though they seem hard to come by, you would actually be surprised how often they do show up on the reselling sites. But of course, you might not recognize that it is a sample bag that you're looking at. Sometimes you might not even find out that you bought one until you have it in your hands because they didn't show the details showing you that it is one, or you might have seen one thinking it was a fake because it had so many discrepancies from the normal model that you know. So now I'm going to show you a few examples from my collection, and I will show you some of the details to look out for to know if a pre-loved bag you're considering buying is actually a sample bag, or maybe if one you already have is a sample bag. So the first and best example of a Coach sample bag is the 0 creed patch. And by that I mean a creed patch where the style number is replaced by 5 zeros. And I've got a few examples of that on some of the bags that I have. You can see it on this Signature Rose Prairie Satchel, and you can see it on this pink Border Rivets Rogue 31. And the reason for these zeros is just that a style number hadn't been assigned to that specific model at the time of producing the samples. And one thing you might also notice is that a lot of these creed patches, they either have all the numbers on it replaced by zeros or just the style number. But on the ones where the style number is the only one replaced, the first numbers are very often, and I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but they're very often the exact same letters and numbers. As you know, that usually indicates the place, year, and month of manufacture, but I don't know if that's the same case with the sample bags or not. What I do know is that they often have the number, I think it's J1680. So maybe they did just make a lot of sample bags in 2016, or maybe they just put random date numbers on there as well, as it is just a sample. And in some cases, the style number can also just be missing completely. As you probably already know, from 2014 to 2016, Coach stopped putting the style numbers on the creed patch and instead put it on that little white tag inside the zip pocket. So for the sample bags made in that period, there's no style number in the creed to replace with the zeros, and they also don't put that little white tag inside. So therefore you might end up with a bag that has no style number, no zeros, no anything. But if you do get that, it should have a style creed patch that matches the type they did from those years, and they do have a specific look to them. And the next thing you see a lot in the Coach sample bags is, even though none of them have the tiny little white tag, a lot of them will have a huge white tag. So there's a big white tag that has a big barcode on it, and that's it. It's very big. It's like something you usually wouldn't see in a bag that was sold to the public. Now, one other thing you also might see, and I've only ever seen this once, is a sample sale card inside the bag. So I'll show you one right here. I have one from this Mason carry-all that I bought. And as you can see, this contains information such as the price category, so over 600. I can't remember exactly how much the Mason carry-alls usually are. They're either just below 700 or 800. It actually has a number on it under style. What's interesting is that this style number that they list is not actually the style number of a Mason carry-all. And it could be that maybe they were going to give it that number and they didn't, or that this was supposed to be a different style of Mason carry-all and therefore would have had its own style number. But I guess we'll never know. It is quite interesting to see this card in here because I would imagine that most Coach employees who are reselling these bags when they're probably not supposed to would take these things out just to not draw attention to the fact that this is a sample bag that shouldn't even be on the reselling market. But you might see it, and that's another good indicator of the origin of this bag. And then of course the most exciting thing that can show you that the bag you have or are looking at might be a sample bag is the fact that it might have some details that are different from the well-known model. It can be anything from certain types of hang tags, it could be a color, it can be extra pockets. I've seen loads of different stuff. A great example is this Mason carry-all that I just mentioned. So here it is, it's this beautiful blue color. And I believe that the color is actually a color that the Mason carry-all was never created for retail stores in. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've just never ever seen this color before. I really searched for it trying to find out if you could get this in the stores. And I've had several people contact me saying they've never seen a Mason carry-all like this. And you might also notice that this one has a clutchette on it, which is not normal for the Mason carry-all either. Other than that, it looks exactly like the Mason carry-all. It does also have the Zero's creed patch, and it has the big white barcode tag, and like I said, it had the sample sale card inside of it as well. But it has all the snake skin, it has the same shape, it has the same strap and everything like the normal Mason carry-alls. So I'd say the most interesting feature about this bag is just the color of it. And the same goes for this Rogue 25 in signature embossed smooth leather. It has this beautiful gray color with almost like a burnished effect to it. And if you look at the edges, you'll see that it has these quite thick oxblood edges, which I think is a lovely detail. It looks great, but I've also never seen that on a Coach bag before. This one also has the C chain straps instead of the normal Rogue 25 shoulder straps. I have a normal version of this in the Beechwood color. This one just has normal Coach Rogue shoulder straps, and the inside of the normal one has the floral bow print on the leather in the outer pockets, whereas the gray one does not. And just one more example of a model that looks like a normal model but still stands out. At least I think it does. Again, I have never seen one like this. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. It's this Rogue 25 in cross grain leather, which you don't really see very often. I know that Coach do some bags in cross grain leather, you see that, but I've never seen a Rogue, and I know that the Rogue shoulder bags sometimes come in caviar leather, which can be similar to the cross grain leather, but I've never ever heard of a Rogue 25 in cross grain leather. Please do let me know if they exist for the retail stores, because I've just never seen one. And then on top of that, it also has the C-chain detachable shoulder straps. I think this one is such a beautiful bag. Finally, you might sometimes come by a Coach mystery bag, and I have one of those. This is the bag that I've definitely never ever seen anything that looks like it. I can't even recognize the model that it kind of looks like or is similar to. I'm gonna need your help on this one. Let me know if you have ever seen a Coach bag that looks like this, or anything that's just remotely similar to it. So as you can see, it's got snakeskin all over in different sizes. It's got black smooth leather on the bottom and on the lining inside. It has a 1941 style hang tag and a clochette. And if you look at the dog clips here, you'll see that they look quite different from what the Coach dog clips usually look like. I've only ever seen these on one other Coach bag, and that was also a sample bag. So I'm guessing that they figured out that that was a design they didn't feel like using after all. They do have Coach embossed on them, and it has Coach embossed on most of the hardware. Now this bag remains a mystery to me, not in terms of authenticity. I know it's authentic, it's been authenticated, but it just looks so special and crazy. So please do let me know if you know anything about this bag, because I would love to know it, even if it's just that it looks remotely like this other Coach model you know. So those are all the most important things to know about Coach sample bags. And if you ask me, there are both upsides and downsides to buying and owning these. So to me, the upsides are, of course, that when you have these sample bags, you sometimes get to have something very special and almost unique that makes you stand out from the crowd a little bit, and it's not just the same old thing that everyone else has, which I always appreciate so much. And I think it's also very interesting that these sample bags kind of give you a little behind the scenes look into the thought process of Coach designing their bags and features they might have considered putting on bags or models they might have considered making. And it kind of makes you wonder why they chose not to, especially because some of these are so gorgeous and special that I can't imagine why they would ever not choose to produce these. And the thing is, in my opinion, all of these sample bags are the exact same quality as the bags made for the retail store. Some people might see these irregularities as a downstep in quality, but to me, I see them as unique and special features. Now, the only downside I can think of is that when you're dealing with bags that have the Ciro's Creed patch and that don't necessarily look exactly the same as the models you see in the stores, it can make it a little bit more difficult to authenticate them, because of course you can't just say that any Coach bag with a Ciro's Creed patch is a sample bag, because you might have fakes that have the Ciro's Creed patch. But of course you have to look at all the overall details of the bag to make sure that it is actually authentic. But other than that, I can't think of a single downside to these bags. I think they're great. I think they're a great way to have something unique, or at least a little bit more unique, and have something a little bit more special. So that's all I have to say about Coach sample bags. Just to get back to the initial question, are Coach sample bags real? Yes, they are. And I hope this video has been helpful. And I'm very interested to hear if you guys already own some sample bags, or if you've ever seen some and what made them stand out or what made them different. Because I think it's so interesting to see all these different models that could have been, or these details that could have been. And for those of you who feel like you might need a little bit more information or pictures to compare to, make sure to check out my blog on the Essex Fashion House website, because I will be uploading a blog post very shortly with all of this information plus really detailed pictures of everything I've mentioned, so that you have something to compare to. Now, I have about 13 sample bags in my collection at the moment, so I'm also going to do a whole video showing you every single one of them and just what makes them all special. So keep an eye out on the channel if you want to see that one. If you subscribe, you can click the little bell notification to make sure that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. It will probably be the next video I upload on the channel, and it should be ready very soon. So thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you in the next one with all the sample bags together.